growth and development that go hand in hand with a commitment to sustainability. It's what the upcoming Ecosperity Week will focus on. Stakeholders from businesses, academia and the government are gathering later this month. Themes include keeping the economy robust yet sustainable and solutions to combat climate change. Now, for more, we're joined by one of the organisers, Dr. Steve Howard, Chief Sustainability Officer at Temasek. Dr. Howard, thanks for joining us this evening. Firstly, the theme this year is Tomorrow Starts Today, from crisis to opportunity. What are the key issues that experts will be diving into?
I mean, really, we can see now, nearly 2 years into the pandemic, that the world's more fragile and interconnected than we thought. But we've also learned that we can mobilise science, we can mobilise business, that governments are capable of really also intervening to support society in a major way, and that we need global responses to these challenges. So when we look at the wider issues of sustainability and climate change, we know that we move from a climate change to a climate emergency. And the Secretary-General has declared a code red for planet Earth this year, the Secretary-General of the United Nations, which is about as alarming as you can make it. And we know we've got 400 weeks left for the carbon budget, if we keep emitting greenhouse gases like we do today, 400 weeks before we've used up all of that budget to stay under 1.5 degrees, which is the safe limit for climate change before it gets really extreme. So it's really on our watch. So Ecosperity is looking at the issue of climate change and wider sustainability, because we can also see the impact we've had on nature now in our increasingly crowded world, that we've more than halved nature in the last 50 years, and that at risk, within a decade or two, we can lock ourselves into more than halving nature again, which will have profound consequences, deep economic losses for our food systems, agricultural systems, for our quality of life, irreparable in many ways. So that it's a stark background. But then the reason why we're talking from crisis to opportunity is to say, actually, we know we're an all-time high of innovation. If you look at human ingenuity, the number of people with graduates, the scientists, the people in business and government working to solve problems, we're in an era where we're up for radical collaboration, where entrepreneurs and investors are focused on solving these problems, and we have exciting technological breakthroughs. So we have it within our grasp to actually turn crisis around, to unlock opportunity, and to create jobs and a green future. So that's really the theme of Ecosperity starting next week.
Dr. Howard, there is plenty at stake, as you've just articulated there. Singapore's got some very specific, very ambitious goals as far as its green plan for 2030. How will Ecosperity Week actually support Singapore's focus on climate action?
What we know is we can't solve things alone. So we need a combination of good government policy and incentives, and we need business innovation and investment. We need collaboration from civil society, and we need the best of science. So Ecosperity is focused on bringing those communities together in Singapore, within the region, and globally, to look at how do we focus those things and how do we move at pace and at scale around that. And I think when you get all the stakeholders around the table, they understand each other. How do you unblock regulatory pathways so you can roll out new solutions? A good case in point could be just recently we saw the example where it was free. There were regulations were eased to sell cultured meat, basically, to allow the world's first chicken that didn't come from a bird, the chicken that didn't come from an egg, you could say, that was cultivated chicken in a lab, actually could be trialled within Singapore. And that was government regulators working to come up with a really innovative, healthy, sustainable solution, and to allow entrepreneurs to move forwards. And you can do the same, whether it's with solar panels on roof, vehicle electrifications, or how you unlock district heating and district cooling to allow people to have more comfortable, affordable, sustainable homes, apartments. So it's this combination of stakeholders coming together to look at that. And I think we also realise that it's putting this up on the boardroom agenda and the cabinet table agenda. So we've gone from, I would say, a few years ago, sustainability was the domain of experts, to now being a mainstream issue, where we know This will shape the future for the way we live, work and play, the way we move and travel, the way we eat, and the way we shape the business landscape. And as a long-term generational investor, that's very important from a Temasek point of view. We know that in the long term, we have to tackle climate change and reverse the decline in nature if we're to have long-term prosperity. But we also know we cannot not do that in isolation. So I would say if there was the overarching theme is collaboration and lean into the future.
Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us this evening. Wish you all the best for Ecosperity Week next week. Dr. Steve Howard, Chief Sustainability Officer at Temasek.